Hi, Bear Nation. We're going to talk about Grindstone Ministries today. This is my brother Kyle. Kyle has been with us for couple 3 years,
3-ish years.
3-ish years. And when I say with us, you started out as a volunteer. I think was your first deployment was that Mayfield,
Mayfield.
Mayfield, Kentucky, and you drove out with a gooseneck full of produce from your farm that you were going to donate to the good people of Kentucky. But you were so damn sick when you got there, and like literally puking in the parking lot that you had to go and take a nappy nap for a couple days.
That's right. I am the pukey guy in the parking lot. That's me.
You're that guy.
Yep.
Awesome. Why like what about Grindstone when you were first getting involved with us? Why were you interested at all to be a part of what we were doing?
I chose to be a part of Grindstone and help get involved because I could see that it was actually bearing fruit. Unlike some of the other organizations I'd followed that said they did stuff and actually didn't actually ever do anything.
Mm-hmm.
So seeing y'all out there for what was it, 40-ish days,
Yeah.
30 days,
Something like that.
yeah, and feeding 1,000 people a meal,
Yeah.
that really spoke to me as a farmer back then. Being able to help, that's how I could contribute.
Mm-hmm.
Then following on, as we've got more involved, we'll get more into that, but that's just where it all went. So,
Yeah, so you did Mayfield with us. You did Perryton, Texas with us. We were in Idabel.
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 Idabel is where we really kind of connected and got involved. So.
And they all run together for me.
Yeah.
And because a lot of the storm damage looks the same. And so I kind of remember which dot on the map we were in based upon what our fob looked like.
Right.
But then I have to remember, oh, that fob, that time we took over the county fairgrounds, that was in Idabel. The time we were in that diesel mechanic shop, that was in Perryton. The time we were in a National Guard armory, that was in Rolling Fork. Because it all, like, storm damage is storm damage.
Right.
It's taking nothing away from the people who've been affected by it, but it's like, how many square miles of there used to be houses and trees here can you look at before you can distinguish one from the next?
That's where you have to watch, like, every person when you go to one of these that's been affected, you don't want to diminish them, right?
100%.
But at a point, you're kind of a little bit jaded about it because it's like, yeah, your house was smashed. We're going to fix it. It'll be okay.
Trust me.
Yeah.
Well, I kind of see, especially when it comes to like vegetative and C&D, construction and demolition debris, and when we do demo of houses, I kind of see our role there as much like a surgeon, where it's like, I need to have enough bedside manner that you trust me and you'll let me operate on you.
Right.
But I'm going to get in here, cut the bad stuff out so that you can heal.
Right.
And that's the analogy I've used with a lot of people. It's like, I know this was your house, but it's destroyed. It's condemned. It can't stay here. And you can't rebuild it because the roof's gone. And it's, everybody misses this too. Like the storm comes in, smashes the house. If there's anything left, the roof's usually gone or at least compromised. And then it almost always rains again afterwards, because there's seasons for hurricanes, there's seasons for tornadoes, and there's a lot of precipitation in those seasons. And so if you have no roof and then it rains inside of your house, everything's destroyed.
Yep.
You might, if you have enough structural integrity, you can take it back down to bare studs again and start over. But the insurance companies oftentimes don't provide enough compensation to do that. And so usually the best remedy is, since the house is already condemned, knock it into a pile, load it on grindstone trucks with the track hoe and get it out of here so you can start over again.
Right.
And it's a lot like surgery to me. You don't love the fact that I'm here, but I'm here to help. So please trust me enough for me to help you. I'm going to cut the bad stuff out so that you can begin to heal and new stuff will grow.
Right.
Um,
and really speaking to that surgery, one story that stuck out to me in Rolling Fork was the trees in the middle of the cemetery that knocked over the headstones.
Yep.
We give our word that we'd take care of that.
Yep.
It required precision, being nice. So just like a surgeon getting in there and doing that surgery.
100%. Yeah, that was hands and feet. We had a lot of people in there picking up individual branches and little pieces of debris, and they were finding people's personal effects from that Rolling Fork storm over 100 miles away.
Yep.
And so that was not a small storm.
And not small personal effects. There was like some trophies and stuff, I think, that were found that far away as well. So.
Yeah, it wasn't just like pictures and memos and papers and stuff like that. It was significant. Rolling Fork, man, that one house over there by Pinkinsville, across the road from Pinkinsville, behind that shop junkyard area, there was a house that had another house that landed on top of it, and then a semi landed on top of that house.
Yep.
And I've seen a lot of storm damage, and that one was like, oh, this is bad.
Right.
Like this is bad. And the guy who lived in that house, his daughter with his infant grandchild, the storm ripped the side of the house off, picked her up in the storm, and dropped her 300 yards away in a cornfield. Praise the Most High.
Yeah.
And like they survived.
She survived. Yeah.
And everybody at Pinkinsville survived.
Right.
And there was nothing but trailer frames left.
Yep.
You know, and it's one of the things with doing Grindstone stuff. I'm constantly reminded how powerful the Father is, and also how merciful He is.
Right.
Because there should be hundreds, if not thousands, of people dead.
Well, in Idabel, ripped the roof off Jamie's house. Her kids are inside.
Yep.
The daughter's on the bed, but it rips the hot water heater out of the closet through,
Yeah. Well, and the bed was getting sucked up out of the roof, and her little 8-year-old daughter was like, "Please, God, save me."
Yeah. God,
And then-
God, I need a little help here, I
Yeah.
think is what she told us.
In the midst of an EF4 or EF5, it's literally getting sucked up and then just drops, right? And it's testimony like that. I was just telling somebody yesterday how humbling it is to go and work these kinds of storms, because in Mayfield, Kentucky, there was one neighborhood, it was out by the lake, that all the houses were gone. All of them. They were just bare slab. And each individual homeowner was on, like, sitting on their bare slab in a camp chair or whatever. They had a bucket, and they had little piles of personal effects. And we were going through like, please let me help you. What do you need? Food, water, shelter, medical assistance, temporary housing. Like, how can I help you? And these people would say, we're good. Praise Jesus, we're good. I'm like, how are you good? Everybody we love is alive. You should go across the street and talk to them. And so I zigzagged back and forth, like 40 used to be homes, just bare slabs. And every one of them was like, we're good. Praise God, we're good. You need to go talk to them. They need help.
Right.
So I got to the end of the road, and there was a single woman out there, elderly. And I said, ma'am, please let me help you. And she's like, oh no, honey, you need to go help all these other people. I'm not that bad. And I'm standing on her bare concrete slab. I was like, man, with all due respect, you are. I was like, I've talked to every one of your neighbors. You're the worst off. We're helping you. And she's like, okay, I guess. And just kind of that humility, that humbleness combined with faith, it's just, it'll just take you to your knees, And
it's case after case after case after case of that.
Right. And it's also really cool to see how the community responds after some of these storms. Mm-hmm. Because in some places, they really come together and they get stuff done.
Well, take my town, Marietta. Mm-hmm. Marietta was smashed.
Yep.
Had an F4 come right through town. Took out every major employer we had in town.
Yep.
To this day, it's still an issue. But during those first 4 weeks, to see my community come together like that and volunteer and turn out, it was absolutely the most humbling thing I've ever seen.
Yep. So Barnstable population 600. Yeah. They had 1,200 volunteers on the first open day, and to the point where we're like, hey, you guys should probably do some traffic control because there was only 600 people in the town. There's double that now, and everything's smashed, right?
And 6 officers, right?
And yeah. Well, in Barnesville, they have one part-time law enforcement officer who's actually part of the Bear Nation. Yeah. Walsh. What's up, Walsh?
Shut up, Walsh.
And so, anyway, Barnsdall was super interesting in as far as the response is concerned. One of the things that I don't think a lot of people realize that Grindstone does is that we do disaster relief, right? Like, what does that mean? So we do vegetative and construction debris. We haul that stuff off. We do demolish houses, not all the houses. This is another misconception. The houses that need it, we do demolition on so that the homeowner isn't having to pay a disaster contractor out of their settlement from the insurance company. We just do it pro bono. That gives them more money towards rebuilding, right? We also feed the people who are in need, clothe the people who are in need, relocate the people for however long they need to be relocated. I mean, I don't know how many trailers and houses and hotel rooms we've been blessed through the Bear Nation to be able to provide to people.
Absolutely.
But we also do command and control, incidents command, and in an advisory role. Because a lot of these small towns, it's their first ever major incident, and it's our 45th. It's like, hey guys, I'm not telling you what to do, but I am making recommendations. You should
how to make it easier on you.
100%, right? Like, we're gonna need traffic control. You're gonna need volunteer sign-in. No open burning because there's no water lines and the fire department smoked. You know, things like that. You need incident command. Have people come here. You need a VRC, volunteer resource center. Have those people go here. Assign sectors and give everybody a written designated sector so you can coordinate the recovery effort, which to us is a no-brainer. We've done it so many times, but to somebody in a little town of 600 people, they've never done it before, and we're piling chaos on top of chaos. It's like, let's work efficiently and safely here. You know, and when we were in Barnesville, I think that lady who was with Oklahoma Emergency Management, 21 years or 22 years, she's like, Grindstone is the best nonprofit I've ever seen.
What a compliment.
What a compliment. It's like, why? Why do you say
that's
it?
not us. That's everybody in the bed.
100%.
Our volunteers.
100%.
Yep.
Yeah, we are, other than some key personnel on the administrative side, we are 100% volunteer organization.
Yep.
And, you know, I asked her why. And she's like, well, number one, everybody has their PPE, personal protective equipment, right? And she's like, everybody's wearing their vest. Everybody has a radio, knows how to use it, which we're sticklers about. She's like, everybody's working safely. You're coordinating, because we were coordinating law enforcement, EMS, gas company, power company, our guys, and the local residents all inside of Sector 5.
Because everybody wants to help at the same time, but you have to control that. So
100%. If we get in each other's way, now we're not getting anything done, right? So there's a command and control element there. And she's like, and you guys are effective. You're really getting stuff done.
Right.
And so it's an honor to have somebody who's been in the industry for 22 years go, you're the best nonprofit we've ever seen. So, all right. So you came to Mayfield, Kentucky first.
Yep.
And then you came to Idabel, and then you came to Perryton, and then
in between there, we drove to Florida.
Oh yeah, we went to Florida. That's right. I forgot about that. What's up, Keely? And okay, and then Marietta, Ardmore, Oklahoma area got smashed.
Yep.
And so you were running the recovery in that area.
So to tell the story about that, if we have time.
Yeah, send it.
So we knew the forecast was looking bad for Marietta, and that's the town I grew up in. I live close to there now, but not too close. And I haven't really been involved in our community very much, just due to time constraints. My career has taken me other places. And the Wednesday before the tornado hit Marietta, I had a vision, call it a dream, whatever you want to call it. And y'all showed me what the damage looked like. He didn't say where, he didn't say when. Well, then he later said Saturday in the vision. And then he said, I need you to take care of this. I don't know what that meant. I was like, okay, well, I guess we have a Grindstone deployment coming up and be ready to go. And so we get to Saturday evening. I have a nephew. He has a girlfriend in a few 40 miles away of town. She's over at my parents' house, and we're all over there watching the storms. And she gets a phone call. She can't get a hold of her parents. Tornado supposedly has just went through that town. So load him up, load her up, and we're out. So we get over there. On our way over there, another storm develops and comes to Marietta. So we contact them. They're fine. They were just asleep. Didn't have the phone on silent. Turn around, come back to Marietta. I drop them off, and I gear up because I've been on the fire department for my entire life, and volunteer fire department. We get to, I go to town. We set up a little emergency operations center because the emergency operations center had been smashed by the tornado.
Imagine that.
And so we go to the local gas station. Everybody gathers up, all the firefighters. It is pissing down rain.
Yep.
Pissing down rain. We do our initial search and rescue, and then we circle back up a few hours later, have another little debrief, and decide to do a secondary search. We expand our search out. Sure enough, we find some more houses that have been smashed. By this time, sun's coming up. I go to the house, get a little rest, come back 7 o'clock. Right at 7 o'clock, we have a EOC meeting. And the EOC, who's new on the job, did a great job. I mean, he really did a good job in Marietta. Everybody there, fantastic job. I walk in the door and we're talking. He asked some questions. Everybody's talking around, and I just happened to ask. I said, "Hey, what do you want to do with the volunteers? Because we're going to have a bunch." Marietta's right on the interstate in between Oklahoma City and Dallas. People are going to flood in, and he's like, "You're in charge of that." And I don't think about my vision. I don't think nothing about that at the time. And I walk out of the EOC and go get my truck. I was like, okay, I'll onboard that. This is, I've been involved with Grindstone. This is what we do. I got this. And, or more importantly, y'all's got this. Kyle doesn't have this. It's y'all.
Right.
And so go get the truck. And as I pull out of the EOC, I look to my right and I see the exact vision of what I saw in my dream.
Yep.
And then it clicked. I was like, okay,
Yeah.
y'all's got this. So it'll be all right.
Was there a weight when you realized, like, did it smash you?
Just smashed in the ground.
Yep.
I mean, the real rock hit me, and it was just boom.
Been there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
And here you are.
Here I am.
Here you are. And I think it was in Barnesville we put a ring on it.
Yep.
Right? Or shortly after Barnesville, it was like, hey, why don't you just come over here and like do this?
Right.
Because when Grindstone started, we started doing Grindstone stuff before Grindstone existed as an entity.
Right.
And I had a conviction that we were going to keep doing this. Like, we're not going to stop doing this. We might as well wrap it around the appropriate type of entity. And so we registered as a 501c3. We've been a 501c3, I think, for 4 or 5 years now. And so we could do it the right way, because people were reaching out saying, hey, we want to support you.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, okay, well, we have no entity to support. It doesn't even have a name yet. Grindstone actually comes from the name Grindstone. It's Proverbs 27:17, but a wonderful man of God, Danny Jackson, who's been a mentor to me for 14 years or so. Grindstone is something that he would talk about constantly.
Yep.
Every time we go on a deployment, I just snap a pic, impromptu pic, and just send it to him.
Yeah.
Awesome prayer warrior, great guy. And he has a heart for ministry, and he has a heart for men in the ministry and men doing manly things. We have awesome females that come and volunteer with Grindstone as well. Not just in the kitchen. They're out in the field doing stuff too, right? They're driving trucks, running saws, operating equipment.
Best time truck operator we had in Barnesville was a lady.
Yep. But that this being the hands and feet, that's something that Danny talks about often. And so I couldn't think of a better name than Grindstone, tying it all the way back to Danny Jackson, who poured into me so that I could pour into others.
Yep.
And so,
and that's the whole mission,
we're super blessed,
yeah.
Right? And so, like, we get to do this. I get to go happen to the world. The world doesn't happen to me. And when there's these external stimuli and there's people in trouble, one of the awesome things about our volunteers is we run toward the problem. We've had storms over the top of our houses, these huge supercells that are producing tornadoes. And literally when the red clears from over the top of my house, I'll look at my phone and I've got 200 text messages, signal messages. Are we up, boss? Are we up? Are we going? Are we going?
Right.
I'm ready. Let's go. And I'm like, we're up. Let's go.
Right.
And that, you can't buy that. You can't ask for that. That's just our people being that bought in. And so we put a ring on it in Barnesville, and you came over from the private sector here.
Yep.
What were you doing before Grindstone that it's like applicable to what you're doing now?
So prior to coming to Grindstone, I spent 22 years in the oil field in conjunction with my volunteer fire department. So crisis response, emergency response has been in me. Project management is what I was most recently doing in the oil field for about the last 10 years as a consultant. Mm-hmm. And leading projects anywhere from $1 million to $1 billion.
Yep.
And a lot of people don't understand kind of what I did and how that applies, but project management 100% applies during emergency response.
Yeah, it does.
Because you have to coordinate and control everything that's going on. And if you can't, you can't be a good steward of those resources that are donated, people's time that's donated. Mm-hmm. And so that's how everything kind of ties in with that.
I totally get that, because I was doing project management in the wind industry.
Yep.
And it's the clock is burning on everything, right? And so I want to burn faster than the clock does and be able to steward these resources and move the chess pieces on the board to the appropriate location to achieve the desired outcome.
Yep.
And again, it's no knock on the locals, but they might have a binder full of, their NIMS or whatever, ICS incident, critical incident binder. But to them, it's a binder, right? They've never really done it. And so that's,
They have it on the shelf and have never read it.
well,
or went through the training online 4 years ago.
well, to your point about Marietta, the EOC, Emergency Operations Center, was smashed by the storm.
Right.
Well, in Mayfield, the fire department that was going to be the incident command post was smashed by the storm. And all the binders that were in there were 9 counties away, and nobody knew what to do. And so that's one of the massive benefits of Grindstone is when we come on site, it's not our first rodeo, it's not our 10th rodeo. It's, we're on rodeo 4 dozen
Right.
at this point. And so we can have, and there's stress inoculation in that too. My heart bleeds for these people, but I know what to do. Please let me help you. And we can roll assets towards you.
And I think that's a good point to lead us into our new initiative,
Yeah.
Project Endure.
Yeah.
So Project Endure being a 12-month initiative for fundraising for Grindstone, but also empowering the communities that are affected or could be affected by training our volunteers, credentialing our volunteers as qualified operators.
Yep.
Having classes, about chainsaws or some of the mass care, mass sheltering, how to take care of those folks that are involved, setting up a shelter. There's a lot of things that will come out with that initiative going forward, and I'm really excited about it. I think it'll be great. But the primary reason is we've deployed 45 times in the last 5 years.
We broke all our toys.
We broke all our toys.
Yep.
And the lowest mileage vehicle we have right now has 240 something thousand miles on it.
Is that all?
That's all.
That's
all.
20 left.
Yeah, we got 500,000 miles. So, but yeah, that's the hours on the machines. Stuff starts getting weak. Luckily, we have a great mechanic.
Yeah, we do.
That's been getting us where we can deploy. Don't forget, we're always ready, and y'all's got us every time we've gone somewhere.
Yep.
Y'all's provided every time. Whether it was equipment in Perrington, and we met a great brother there that's been a great resource for us. Shout out Matt Hinton.
Yep. What's up, Matt?
Just every time we go somewhere, y'all always provides.
He does. But there's still that element of stewardship, right? Yep. So the salaries that we do have in Grindstone are to maintain a constant state of readiness.
Yep.
Right. And that's because to whom much is given, much is required.
Yep.
It's the parable of the talents. I got to be a good steward of this. And the parable of the talents is I have to multiply this, not just maintain what I got. I've got to multiply it. And we have all the way broken all of our toys. In fact, one of our KPIs, key performance indicators for Grindstone is I want an increased number of broken hydraulic hoses because that tells me we're using our stuff. Right? It's like we replace 1 hydraulic hose a year. We're being bad stewards. Right. We're not using the equipment. We're doing 1 a month. Man, we're getting after it. Right.
And that's something with me coming on board. I hope we can increase our operational tempo.
Yep.
Not to wish disasters on people, but there's a lot of disasters in a lot of places. We're just not able to respond right now.
Yep.
So hopefully that can expand our
and follow on, bro, because in Perryton got hit. While we were in Perryton, the Oklahoma Panhandle got hit.
Yep.
And then immediately after that, Matador, Texas got hit.
Yep.
So there were 3 significant tornado outbreaks while we were in Perryton.
Right.
And that's, having the increased capacity. We're in Perryton. Can we go to Matador? Yeah, for search and rescue, but I can't pull what I've got in Perryton to go over here to Matador.
Exactly.
And so having that increased capability, increased op tempo, I think is going to be great. Which kind of brings us into what is the current state of Grindstone?
So current state of Grindstone, we still find it, Grindstone being a 501c3, everything's public, and the 990s are up on the website as far as I know. And if anybody has any questions about any of that, be happy to answer them for them. But financially, we are okay. We have a shortfall this year for our projected budget, but we are trying to operate within our budget.
Yep.
And we'll be good stewards of that. The state is, we have an excellent base of volunteers. We're always looking to expand that. And I hope so my goal is our current list of volunteers that are recurring is about 300 folks.
Yep.
And I hope to get that up to 1,000.
That's awesome.
That's the goal for the year.
And that's part of where Project Endure comes in.
Correct.
Because my background is very strong in heavy equipment operation and very strong in chainsaw stuff.
Yep.
We have a lot of people who come who maybe they've run a saw a few times, but a lot of what we do is super technical,
Yep.
right? And so if we can have classes and trainings, whether it's for our volunteers or a larger volunteer pool or individual municipalities,
Yep.
to get these people up to speed and ready, because and follow-on injury, something I'm constantly talking to emergency medical about when we roll on site. I'm like, all right, how many casualties did you have? And they'll back brief me on that. I'm like, within the next 48 to 72 hours, you're going to have a lot of follow-on injuries. They're like, well, why? Number one, nobody has slept, and a bunch of people don't have a place to sleep. Number two, cleanup's going to start, and people are going to get cut with roofing tin, or step on nails, or put a chainsaw through their leg, or have a tree fall on them where they haven't slept, so motor vehicle accident or unstable house, and they're like, oh, I had no idea.
Yeah.
So even interfacing with the local, peace officers, law enforcement, fire, emergency medical services, emergency management, the town or city leadership. Hey guys, let's run you through a couple of scenarios here. Let's pressure test your response just a little bit, and then train you up on your weak points, because we've done this so many times. All the way down to the individual volunteer who wants to come out. It's like, how do I work my radio? This is how you work a radio. This is what to say. This is what not to say on a radio. Chainsaw
Shout out
stuff.
Squeaks.
Yeah. Yeah. And and man, Ranches. What's up, Ranches? Like,
Yeah.
keeping our stuff running in the field,
Yeah.
and Jeremiah's come to like every grindstone thing he possibly could. He's a professional logger.
Yeah.
So when it comes to heavy equipment and chainsaws, he knows his stuff. But not everybody is a professional logger, but they have a heart to serve.
Right.
And so if we can bring people up both on the professional side and on the volunteer side up to a uniform standard across the board to have as much efficiency and efficacy as possible after the storm, we get even more stuff done in a shorter period of time, which increases our capacity for stewardship.
Right.
We're burning less money and time to do the same amount of work.
Exactly.
And we're doing it more safely.
Yep.
So I think Project Endure is awesome.
Cool.
So if somebody wants to know about Project Endure, how do they get a hold of you? Where do they go to the website? What's up with that?
So my email address is kyle@grindstoneministries.com.
It's very creative.
Very creative.
Kyle@grindstoneministries.com.
And if they had any administrative questions, they can email admin@grindstoneministries.com.
Wow. Dude,
also very creative.
We are all the way in the 21st century,
Right?
aren't we?
We have email. And that's the best way to reach us, definitely by email. Also, I think we have all the socials covered, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. All of those are Grindstone
We
Ministries.
have a Twitter?
Yes. We have a
Wow.
Twitter.
Good job, Dud. Did you do
Good
that?
job, Dad. Proud of you, Dad. And
I love it when people ask me questions
Right.
about Grindstone, Caleb House, any of the things we have going on. I was like, I have no idea. Like, Bear, I saw what you said on Twitter.
Yeah.
I was like, I said a thing on Twitter?
Right.
Okay, cool.
So the first thing's coming out August 1st is when we're officially going to launch Project Endure.
Okay.
And that's going to be our 1-year goal to get us back to the following August.
Okay.
And that way, what that does is gives us time to implement everything, get our curriculum together, rolled out, pushed out, set up these partnerships with these organizations like Ace Hardware, Great Plains Kubota in Oklahoma, who's been a great partner of ours. And also start reaching out to other organizations that are interested in helping, and that helps build our brand awareness, build our bona fides with other organizations. Once we have 1 or 2 of these great partnerships, they're like, hey, talk to these folks. Hey, talk to these folks. Also aligning us with organizations like the National VOAD, voluntary organizations active in disaster, and having those partnerships with other resources, other nonprofits like Samaritan's Purse, Red Cross, blah, blah, blah. Name your entity here. They have a lot deeper pockets than what Grindstone has that can help. And they do good work. A lot of those folks do good work. But we definitely fit a niche that's needed greatly in the disaster space. A lot of people just don't want to do what we do. So that's...
Yeah, we are your disaster infantry.
Yeah.
We get in there and get shit done.
Right.
Yep.
That's a good way to look at it.
Can I say shit in this video? Okay, cool.
Okay.
We get in there and get shit done.
Yeah.
Awesome.
But we'll have some exclusive merchandise coming out. I'm pretty excited about. It's going to be kind of different and cool.
Yeah.
And you've seen that.
I love the logo, man.
We can't tell the people about that.
Oh, not yet. There'll be a product launch.
Yeah, product launch.
That's awesome.
And so look forward to that. Not going to try to, jack it up huge, but we do want to make some money on it. It's kind of the point.
It's a fundraiser.
Yeah, it's a fundraiser. and having the classes. The classes are hopefully going to be across the nation,
Mm-hmm.
in all the areas that we serve.
Yep.
And so, looking forward to that. Getting out, meeting the folks. I'm used to traveling.
Yep.
You need something, holler. So we'll be
Awesome.
there.
And we, so future State of Grindstone, you said you want to get the core volunteer pool to 1,000 people.
Yep.
So that's a 3.3x. That's cool. I like it. And I know that we need like class 5 through 8 trucks and heavier trailers, equipment, all of that.
Yep.
And then FOB stuff, right?
Yep.
Like the FOB, forward operating base, the ability to house our volunteers. And then also, well, so Red Cross, one of the things they do great is emergency shelters
Right.
for the local people, right? But we come in oftentimes, like we find, dude, we've fobbed up in gas station parking lots because that's what was available. But it's kind of austere living until a better environment presents itself. So
That's one of our fundraising goals is a new deployment trailer for Grindstone.
right,
We have a design on one. I'll have that put up so people can see. It's can sleep 14 people, 10 men, 4 women in separate quarters,
Yep.
2 restrooms.
cool.
Has a little laundry space so we can do our laundry because that's always important.
Yep,
And then the little cooking space inside.
that's cool.
So
Very cool. So if you're watching this video and you think this all sounds awesome, whether you're an individual volunteer or you're part of a mutual assistance group or you're part of the leadership in your town or your city, email Kyle@grindstoneministries.com. You can go to grindstoneministries.com. I'm sure Dudley's going to put all the links down on the doobly-doo. And then if you have any administrative questions or you would like to come serve with Grindstone, hit the website or admin@grindstoneministries.com. We do an email blast when we deploy for every storm. We don't spam your email inbox, but the op order goes out via email. This is where we're at. This is the situation on the ground. This is what we need. This is what we're doing. This is how long we think we're going to be here for. And then, that's how we get our volunteers mustered on site. And so reach out to us if you have any questions, any concerns, if you'd like to pour into what we're doing, grindstoneministries.com. And this is Kyle, the Director of Operations for Grindstone Ministries, my brother and my friend. We've done a lot of cool stuff together, and I'm glad you're here because somebody needs to be babysitting this thing while I'm running around the world doing all the other things I do.
you got to do other stuff. I'll take care of this.
Bless you, bro.
Bless you.
Shalom, everybody.